Just state your name and the position that you're running for.
I'm Frank Attkisson. I'm running for District 4 County Commission, Osceola County.
All right. The first question, which was submitted by Danny Saxon, one of our members and owner of Kissimmee Flowers, is what is your opinion of the proposed sales tax increase and the effect on small businesses?
First off, I think there are a couple of points to view on that. Number one is that is going to be extremely harmful to the economy and to business, because right now we are in a recession. We have limited, our economy is based on people coming to town and buying things, our tourism. And so when you have limited dollars, even though you can run the argument that tourists will spend part of that, problem is tourists will go elsewhere. That's number one. On the big ticket items, that what we're trying to do is to get people to buy more cars, more autos. You all of a sudden, with going up an extra penny on a $20,000, $30,000 car, you immediately shift the buying capability up into Orange County. So it's not necessarily a true penny on all things. It will be a reduced penny, plus that the stress that comes about. But let me tell you, the biggest concern I have is not so much that the penny's out there, but what they didn't think about when they offered to put the penny on. Government has an inherent right and responsibility to look at the income of the citizens. This is easy information to get. Right now, Osceola County is in the mid $20,000 range, as listed by University of Florida, the Bureau of Economic Research. They do it all over the state. And what people don't realize is when all of a sudden they go and they look at what our citizens have as income coming in, and you have a citizenry that has a limited dollar coming in, along with probably 20% of those folks, or 1 in 5, without a job, people don't have an extra penny to give. So if you ask me, not only should they not have put it on the ballot, number one, because of the reasons I've given, but I think it's a real slap in the face to any citizen when you have 1 out of 5 that are unemployed, when you have the lowest income in the Central Florida region of average income. What you're saying is, we don't care that you're unemployed, we don't care that you're low income, we still want your money. To me, that is a cheap shot by local government. That is a shot that was not thought through. That is a shot that does not respect the voters that put them in office.
On the same kind of question, with the controversial fire fee situation in Osceola County, do you support the current fire fee, and what do you think the effect is on small business in the same level?
Let's go back, and I think you used the word controversial. Let me go back in saying a fire fee in and of itself is something that we all, I think, want to pay a dedicated source. I think the question becomes is how this source and this fee was developed. We all want to pay our fair share. We all want to be able to call 911 and have a response. There's no denying that. I think we have to look at how these sources were developed and how the standards were developed. And I noticed that there was the person in charge was the fire chief. And people say, well, yeah, wouldn't he be the person in charge? Well, my challenge to that is I'm not so sure I would have put that individual in charge. Not that they're a bad person at all. But why shouldn't we have thought about who our community is? Why shouldn't we thought about who our county is? And why shouldn't we have looked at, number one, put an accountant on there, somebody who would have done a cost-benefit analysis, somebody from our budgeting department, as compared to somebody with an inherent conflict of interest. And that is to make sure that the people under him, the firefighters and fire service personnel, let's make sure they all stayed employed. Then all of a sudden you would not have had that inherent conflict of interest. That would have been number one. Number two, on that committee, I would have gone out and find the makeshift or the breadth of who this community is. And right now, we did not have one unemployed individual. We had people with good salaries on those committees, not with challenges to their ability to pay. We did not have the small business person, in my opinion, that would have said, I'm struggling, there's no way this could be tolerable. So I think even though it was well intended in the design, it was extremely flawed in the design. That would be number one. Number two is any time that you raise fire fees 22%, which is small, $32. You say that's not that much, Frank. Well, you have to realize we're the only county in the Central Florida that has one. So hang on. We're now at $180 on top of our millage rate, which is significantly higher than Lake, Orange, and Brevard County. Okay, so once you have that, then you have to realize that this becomes a significant dollar value. Now all of a sudden, the way this was designed, who's going to pay the lion's share of it? Let's go to small business. Again, as in the answer to my first question on the sales tax, where did our county commission go to say, are our businesses healthy? Do they have the ability in cash flow to be able to throw off an additional 50 to 90% on the fire fee? And the answer is they did not. We also see another anecdotal situation that I talked with some folks over in the city of Kissimmee this week, where in fact, and this is where good competition will prevail, business owners that are on the edge of the cities, be it St. Cloud or be it Kissimmee, they're now doing the calculations. The anecdotal evidence given to me by somebody, administrator in City Hall, was real simple. Somebody's paying $10,000 in the county now, but if they move into the city with their commercial piece of property, they only pay $2,700. Fire fees go away, and the millage rate will be high, but that will be about it. And then they don't have the onerous impact fees that are in the county. So whether it's the competition of going into cities that was not calculated, whether it's the lack of calculating the business's ability to pay, or whether it's not being able to look at other options, I think there were a whole menu of reasons why this should have been voted down, or at least with other options, and considered instead they voted for the most onerous and egregious tax increase you could get out there.
In the same aspects, we know that revenues are down and projected to be down in Osceola County. Property values have dropped, and there's even more talks about different ways to increase revenues. One of the revenue streams that have been put out there and is being talked about is the 5-cent gas tax. Are you in support of such measure?
No, because the 5-cent gas tax, again, you cannot go into a group of unemployed, a group of those people that are stressed financially and say, give me more, so I will spend it on you. The only thing that will work at a time like this, and we just have to work through it, is to keep as much money in the pockets of the consumers and pockets of the businesses so that they can make the decisions. Let's realize where we're at. In the past 3 years, our citizens have lost $1 billion, that's B billion, with residential value. That is the money that so many of us were preparing our retirements with. Because of the policies of national, because of the policies of the state, because of a lot of policies here local, extreme policies here local, that's why that 1 billion has shot down. For us to now come in and say, because of our policies causing you to lose value in your home and not having a strong economy, now we want you to pay more in your gas tax, is extremely wrong. There's another couple of things with this. One of the things that they want to use the nickel gas tax for is for the Sunrail system. Here's the problem with the Sunrail, using a nickel gas for the Sunrail system, is we in government should be very proud to be able to create policies that have the American become more affluent.